I was already standing when it happened, glass sweating in my hand, their laughter bouncing off the walls like loose change. Someone had just called me unstable. Someone else said, poor child. They clinked drinks to punctuation, as if humiliation deserved a toast. I didn't blink. I never do. That's how they learned to underestimate me. Then my son stood. The room tilted, chairs scraped, silence fell like a dropped plate. He was small in that moment, shoulders tight, voice steady, because I taught him how to breathe when he's scared. He didn't look at me. He looked at his father's family, at the smiles still frozen on their faces. "Daddy says Mommy is crazy at night," he said. "He says it so I won't tell the judge how he yells." A cough, a spill. Someone laughed too late. I tasted iron and stayed still. This was the reveal, not mine, his. Before the noise returned, before they could rearrange the truth, I let my memory pull me backward. I met his father in a room that smelled like fresh paint and ambition. He spoke softly. He watched people instead of talking over them. He held doors. He remembered details. He made me feel chosen. We built a life that looked stable from the outside. Mortgage, holidays, framed photos that hid the cracks. When our son was born, he cried. I believed him. I believed the tears meant permanence. Betrayal doesn't arrive loudly. It seeps. First, it was the way he stopped asking how my day went. Then the locked phone. Then the tone. Casual contempt. Practiced. He said I was forgetful. He said I imagined things. He said stress made women unreliable. He started taking notes, not for love, but for leverage. I noticed patterns. Tuesdays late, receipts that didn't match routes, a name that appeared, vanished, appeared again. I didn't accuse, I observed. Control is quieter than anger. The evidence came like it always does, careless, confident. A message meant for someone else, not an apology, logistics. I copied it, saved it, labeled it with the date. I didn't cry. I cooked dinner. I tucked my son in and counted his breaths. When I filed for divorce, they called it sudden. His family called it reckless. They said I was destroying a good man. They smiled like they'd already won. He asked for custody with a calm he practiced in mirrors. That's when the shift happened. I stopped reacting. I started designing. I gathered school emails, doctor notes, calendars with his absences circled. I recorded nothing illegal. I recorded patterns. I asked for evaluations. I asked for mediation. I asked questions that made people write things down. I hired a lawyer who liked quiet women. I let him talk. I let him lie. Lies are heavier when you let them stack. I prepared my son without poisoning him. We practiced truth without adjectives. We practiced speaking to rooms. I told him he was brave even when his voice shook. I told him no one gets to decide his memories for him. Socially, I did nothing flashy. I attended birthdays. I smiled. I sent thank you notes. I corrected no one publicly. Privately, I handed documents to people who needed them, teachers, therapists, a judge. Financially, I stopped carrying him. I documented contributions. I froze nothing. I waited. Patience is a blade if you sharpen it. Back in the room, after my son spoke, his father stood too fast. The chair tipped. He reached for my arm like habit. I stepped away. My lawyer stepped forward. The judge's clerk, invited for a drink by his sister, how charming, cleared her throat. I finally spoke. I won't be discussing parenting in a living room, I said. But since we're sharing stories, I've brought copies. Paper is loud when it hits glass. The messages, the calendars, the therapist's note documenting coercive language, the school counselor's report quoting my son's words dated weeks ago. They read, faces rearranged, drinks went untouched. His mother tried to laugh it off. Kids say things. Yes, I said, when they're coached, or when they're telling the truth. The judge's clerk didn't drink. She asked for names. She took notes. Later, always later, the courtroom felt smaller than the living room. Truth compresses space. He spoke about stress. He spoke about misunderstandings. He spoke like someone used to being believed. Then my son spoke again, practiced and brave, and the air changed. Custody shifted, supervised visits, mandatory counseling, a warning placed on record like a shadow he couldn't shake. After, his family stopped calling. When they did, it was to apologize badly. I accepted nothing I didn't ask for. I didn't win because I shouted. I won because I listened, because I waited, because I taught my son that silence is a choice, not a sentence. Now, when I replay that night, I don't hear the laughter first. I hear the scrape of a small chair. I see a boy standing taller than fear. I feel the moment the room learned who was telling the truth. Justice doesn't always roar. Sometimes it clears its throat and asks for the record.